Everything I've always been looking forward to. Oops. There we go. The only game ever where waiting to respond actually does something. Usually the message doesn't come up till it's gonzo. I think it's twice now it's fixed. It's like worked out. So much honey. An ancient seed on me for random. Okay. These will take a while. Pigs are fine. Little honey over there. Let me just yoink. Oh, forgot to change buffs. Don't have a whole lot of use for the elder buff anymore. You love terraforming? This is my moment. I finally am going to start to make like a... I finally will start to make like a base that feels like a base. Despite being only about halfway through the game, it's time to get the vision going, you know? So, the Executioner Smalv and Dragon Killer Ornstein fight took me 3 hours to finish. And I was trying to use the Black Iron set with like a sword and shield. And I eventually just moved over to like a mid-roll with two-handing the sword. And then it was a lot easier because you're more mobile. So ultimately your fat roll being the death of you thing was ultimately correct because I could barely do anything to the second half of the boss. Because he does so much damage and he attacks so fast. And I couldn't dodge out of anything really. So once I got some mobility back, it went by pretty quickly. So it all worked out in the end. Need this on. Cape. Alright. So. It's time to look at my grand scheme here. So I guess what I do... I have arrows on me? Yeah, okay. I guess what I do is I essentially want to flatten... Oh man, I didn't feel very good after dying to that guy for 3 hours, I gotta say. A lot of them were like really cursed. But I think I think that fight teaches you how to like keep track of two guys at once and keep moving. So that was a big part of it. And what you were also saying was true in that, like, I would say probably a third of my deaths came from missing a heavy attack because the guy is so mobile and then just getting punished so fucking hard. So you were right about both of those things. Okay. So those are both very valuable pieces of advice that I appreciate. How's your head feel? BTW. Didn't feel so good. But I know what you mean. Like, it felt like one out of every 5 or 6 attempts was a good attempt, and the other ones were like true trash. Just getting killed like instantly. 2 minutes of running from the bonfire for like fucking 20 seconds of fighting. The only 2 bosses who've taken me time were the double bosses, the bell gargoyles and then this one. Both of those really messed me up. Oh, good. Do you have anything planned? Your birthday. Nice. Alright. Go to the water. Alright, forget that one. Yeah, it's true. Your like brain turns off as you're running to the encounter. You're just like needing a break for sure. Okay, is there any other boulders I want to take care of? Yeah, you're right. I actually took a break at about the 2.5 hour mark or 3 hour mark or whatever, and then beat it after like that was like the only break I took, and then I beat it after like 2 or 3 more tries. So you're right about that too. I also had an audience for like the last couple of runs, which I think to me actually makes a difference. Like I actually, from other games I've played before, like I actually do better if I have an audience. I focus more. Like when I was playing Doom Eternal, I was playing Ultra Nightmare mode, which is like the whole game with no deaths. And my friend was there. I asked him to like watch me for a few boss fights, just because I would try a little bit harder. Yeah, I don't know. I only recently discovered that. I find that it helps. I don't understand why sometimes the like instructions are at the bottom of the screen. I didn't ask for that. There it is. No, it's still there. Okay, more big rocks. I guess those ones. Okay, so I'm gonna probably take a break between 1 and 2 to play something else. I don't think I can play all 3 Dark Souls games and Elden Ring in a row. But I'll probably take a break between 1 and 2, and then a break between 2 and 3, and then a break between 3 and Elden Ring. But it's definitely gonna happen. They're like my main goal right now. And I know that like part of improving in the game is like getting better at your particular build. So obviously one of the reasons I struggled with the boss was like completely changing how I was playing. Makes sense. Ooh, raspberries. I can't wait to play 3 either. Like I know that it's like a huge step above in some ways. Can I get some branches or some shit? Here we go. Yeah, you're going for extra challenges, for sure. Do you like doing... What's it called? Like... Do you like doing... What's it called? Like a lot of sorcery? Like a lot of sorcery builds in any of those games? Seems like you would have limited options when you're doing sorcery, you know what I mean? You get like 1 or 2 spells. I've seen videos of people like one-shotting Elden Ring bosses with it. With like 1 spell. Pretty funny. Or I don't know, having is like a mixture of like some spells and other things. I guess it could be okay. And then the cleric stuff seems to be like just, that's miracles, right? It's like just healing. Just like sustaining yourself so you can take more damage, I guess. Paladin style. Yeah. I was watching like a 2022 best of compilation from a streamer I like while I was eating dinner. And it was like during the section where he played Dark Souls a lot. Where he played Elden Ring a lot. It's pretty funny. The jump attack makes the game look so different. He was so mobile. Just leaping over people with like 2 maces. Pretty cool. Okay, time to even everything back up. So I can just start to draw everything together. What's this guy doing? Get a little close to the old base, if you ask me. He's leaving? Alright. Yeah, it like has the... It's kind of the game is kind of the way you do in this game what you want to. Essentially, there's a progression system. It helps you get more stuff. A lot of it's just like base building. You can do different things for different people. Pretty open-ended. Okay, so where am I going to start? I guess I'll start here. Do I want it to move? I want this to be pretty high, so I think it's time to start raising the ground. How much stone do I have? 225. Okay, do I want to go higher? This game got really, really popular, like late 2020, and then they're like, "Well, we got all these things planned, but like, you guys are so many of you are playing this that we got to do bug fixes and everything." So they had to kind of like hold off on content creation. So it took them about 1.5 years to like spin up the team to start doing their first couple of big expansions. It just came out in December? Is that troll coming? Motherfucker, I knew it. Oh, my workbench. Ow. Oh. That hit me. How do you like that? Not so tough now, are you? Glad I didn't destroy my workbench. That would have been very inconvenient. Alright, where was I? That guy's out of the way. That's good. I think when I play Dark Souls 2, depending what the game is like, but like I would like to see like a more mobile way of playing the game. I don't really like shields in a game like that. The big two-hander is fun, but to do like, there's like a katana you can get in like the original shrine in Dark Souls 3. I've done that before. So having that sick-ass katana would be fun. Today I was walking home through a park, and like these, like half a dozen crows followed me through the entire park. They kept like flying right over my head, then landing in front of me, and then looking at me, and then flying over my head again. Oh, my man, how are you? Hey guys. The classic emote. Yesterday I put on my hard hat and I put some survey polls out. What do you think about that? I go. It's work. It's like work site safety, hard hats, survey polls, the full deal. My stone dog got left. Still plenty. Okay. Hopefully, surveying day 1 won't take too much longer. Good. I spent 3 hours on a boss in Dark Souls today. Like, I think more, actually. But I got through it. 3 hours. Understand what that's like? Yeah. A lot of it was like, essentially part of the lesson learned is like, I was trying to like basically play the game an entirely different style than I had been previously. So then when I reverted to my previous style, then it was fine. I got it done. I took a break, go to the bathroom, basically stare at nothing, go like, "Aah!" And then after that, I was fine. Got it done a little bit soon after that. But like I was doing like a big chunky fat boy style just for that boss because I got all these like hilarious knight's armor sets in like the medieval castle that I've been going through. And so I wanted to use all those, but no bueno. I thought those leaves were another troll coming. I was getting paranoid. I'm not doing this tonight. Did you get buzzed from drinking at home yesterday, or did you go out? You dream of a bright hall filled with gracious warriors and fair maidens. The air hums with song, the boards groan under the weight of steaming dishes, the mead flows like water. You awake with the laughter still ringing in your ears. Oh, that'll do it. I sold all my shit. I made like 4 grand from rubies and amber pearls, etc. That was pretty sweet. Yeah. It was a lot. Well, man, I have probably total, considering the other iron, I've probably gotten close to 1,000 iron. All told. Hopefully that'll do me for a while. Do not want to go there anymore. No time soon. Alright, come on. On your fucking workbench, work. There we go. But I got some others in the map if I need to. They're just on a different continent, I think. The fuck was that? Oh, it's probably the wooden post. I feel like I've never noticed before the last couple of days, but I feel like someone in my building, like just occasionally just like lets their like little small gruff little schnauzer ass sounding dog just like out and just like barks grumpily outside for like a while every day. They're just kind of like just cranky on the balcony. I've only recently heard it. I also hear this like buzzing like once, probably every day that I'm home. And I'm just like, what is that? It's like someone like trying to get let into my building and the buzzer happens. But I realized today when I was walking home that it's actually like the elementary school that's like across the street the next block over doing their like recess / lunch bell. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. Nothing better than having like a school around. the best feeling. As Bill Burr said, pedophiles really ruined it for us. You can't even like pat a kid in the head anymore. But I still like when I'm like walking home from the gym to like walk past schools and watch kids like beating each other up. Today I was watching a bunch of kids play soccer, and like they're at that age where they're like preteens probably. They all look like, it's hard to tell, man, but they all look like 10 to 12 or something. And like that's the age when like girls are taller than dudes. I remember like grade 7. I didn't have a growth spurt till I was like 15 or 16, really, like a big one. So like I remember being like grade 7, grade 8. I was like fucking front row center class picture, like a little kid like this with my hair parted in the middle. And there's one girl named Lauren McDougall, who I still would see once in a while now, who like in grade 7, grade 8 especially, like she stood, everyone else is on like the seats, the lineup. I'm like front row center, shortest kid. She's like standing here along the outside where the teachers are. She looked like a fucking substitute teacher. She was like so much more grown than us. So funny. Anyway, this girl had like was like this tall, lanky girl. And she was like so much clearly a better athlete than these like spazzy little boys. It's great. Good for her. Alright. This whole workbench thing is getting a little annoying. Okay, somewhere around here, let's go. That should do it. I watched a bunch of like YouTube videos yesterday for like inspiration. Like I mean, like reading like a book, watching a video about like earth smoothing or like terraforming stuff is good, but I can't tell whether watching other people's builds is like inspiring or discouraging. Some of it's like, well, I mean, this is crazy. This is like 8 people worked in this, and I don't think I'll do that. But it's nice to have new ideas. It's nice to, I like the way that people like often will have like treasure chests kind of like strewn around as a decoration. I also like that people will like make, even with stone keeps, they'll still take they'll also like make wooden outcroppings and like wooden things around the keep to be sort of like, not windows, but like sort of like an outer floor to like kind of warm it up. Because there's only so many ways you can make a castle look good. Particularly seagulls watching it. Those seagulls are like those Portuguese men who like peer inside of construction sites with like their paper cup of espresso. Yeah. Yeah, that looks like shit. I bought my form when I was a foreman that never would have flew. Those guys are the best. I like living in areas with like little, I think it's funny to live in an area like a little Italy or like a little Portugal. In Toronto, I lived near an area that was basically one on top of another. And it's so funny. You see like the 3 like 4'11" women all in like their 70s doing their like Tuesday morning shopping together, all holding hands and shit. They're so small. That shit is so funny. They all live in these like huge houses that they bought like probably in like the 1960s. And like they take away, they're huge. Even in like medium nice areas, they have these huge houses. And what they always do, I find, is like they'll use cobblestones and courtyards to take away like any even remote slice of green that could be in the house. Like they might keep some trees, but if you live in an area that's like a little Portugal or a little Italy, I find they'll use like courtyards and stuff like that to like completely remove any sign of like grass or anything. It's like grass is for like poor people or something and they don't want to do it. It always seems to go that way. Okay, how much stone did I get there? Nice, 125. I wonder what I'll do with this like inner wet area. I just roll with it. You still have to use raised ground. You just kind of use the... You can do like a quarter of the height you want with level ground, but if you really want to like actually have a proper one, you still need to use this. And then if it doesn't come up like is where you want it to. But I find putting on the very corner keeps rising you up too much. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, because you can always like you can always pickaxe it back down, obviously. I guess there's nothing wrong with that if it's the same amount of stone. But like this is like annoying. I think Ornstein and Smog is base of On Tarkus and Blueford and Jotaro. I haven't watched it. I do really like the Smog design. Whatever it is, it's a sick design. I think like the way that you can't really tell whether it's like a person under there or like it's like a golem or something. I think that's one of like the best monster designs I've seen so far in the game. So good. I find generally like my anime expertise is more movies than it is series. The series are always like, there's just so much of it. It was like always like kind of intimidating, I think, to like get into. Of like I didn't really want to do it. Filler episodes, etc. I do like Attack on Titan. I watched Dragon Ball Z, obviously. There's been some other ones over the years, like little one-shot series, Ergo Proxy. There's a couple others that I watched like a couple years back, but mostly I try to specialize in like anime movies. Not just Studio Ghibli, but like Millennium Actress, like Perfect Blue, things like that. Akira, Tokyo Godfathers. Those things are like real classics. I've watched Neon Genesis Evangelion like multiple times, watched this TV show, and I watched like all the reboot movies this year. I actually had never even... Yeah, I figured it was a person, but I just am saying I've never really watched the show. I do think JoJo sounds sick though. It's a really cool idea. I never knew about the Evangelion movies until the fourth one. The most recent one, I think, is the fourth one. Came out late 2021, and so then I watched all of them. They're cool. It's kind of like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like they took the original, which is kind of like one of those shows that had huge potential but got kind of like fucked over by the studio, and like redid the idea completely. The same concept basically, but each movie was more and more different than the show was. So by the beginning it's like pretty recognizable, but then by the end it's like totally different. I had no fucking idea what was going on. Gotta love it. Quite straight, is it? I do think that was a really fun boss fight, though. Like that's the biggest thing I've been noticing about Dark. Wait, what's going on here? How are you guys getting out? Did he slip under here? Is that a glitch? Alright, well, you're a free piggy. Respect. Do I have a raspberry to give him? No, okay, never mind. Neon Genesis, I think, is like, well, to some degree, I find it like perfectly up my alley. By that I mean like it's weird and it's really ambitious, and like so the studio, it's kind of like Xenogears, which is my favorite PlayStation RPG, and like generally my favorite RPG in some ways of all time. Best story, best art, etc. In that, like, it's one of those things where they went so fucking, they swung for the fences so hard that the studio basically like abandoned it because it was getting too expensive or too vague. So they have to like kind of go big and vague and general and ambivalent for the ending. And a lot of people find that to be like a failure, but I find it very interesting. And I think Xenogears was like one of those experiences, music-wise and art-wise and story-wise, which has like never been even close to matched, I think. And Evangelion's like that too. Like the more I learned about Evangelion, the more I realized that it's like Marvel movies, like in terms of scale. It's like really influential in Japan. And it's super weird and super fucked up. And the two things are pretty similar. Xenogears like, okay, have fun, buddy. See you later. Xenogears was really influenced by Evangelion, both in the religious themes and like the angst and ennui of the main character, etc. Both like legit classics. Hope your headache feels good. Feels better if you're still here. I worry about people with migraines. I had a girlfriend who had migraines. And we had a very, like, I think we had a pretty strong relationship for a while. And then, it's not necessarily related, but I did feel like, I don't know, I could have been in a better place then than I was. But I did notice that the days that she woke up with a migraine, you could just watch the way that it would just ruin her whole day. And so she'd get them sometimes before going out at night too. She'd be like, I was gonna go with my girls, but then like the lights started looking funny. And so like I've just been like in the dark hiding ever since. And like it leads you to like, generally speaking, I find people who get steady migraines, it leads them toward more weed smoking and like kind of brutal behavior in some ways. Not that weed smoking is bad, but like just in terms of like, it leads you to like pain escaping in a way that I feel really bad about, because they're so hard to figure out what causes migraines. I feel really bad for people who like will wake up with them and just ruins your whole day. Headaches just generally. My current girlfriend gets headaches, and she looks really different when she has them. She's like pale as a ghost. And like her face looks different. Like the way that people like lose their blood flow as it like rushes to their head or whatever's happening. It's no joke, man. Really hurt, like it really fucks people up. Chronic pain is one of those things that like is really brutal. My aunt is like a pretty well educated doctor. Like she's been to like most of the best schools in America, really. She's like just like a totally hardworking, insanely fucking industrious person. Her and my mom both are like really like that. And she works like, she used to be a surgeon, but now she works as like, for the last like 15 years or something, she works at like a chronic pain clinic. And I don't think she'll ever quit. Like I asked her, I'm like, when are you gonna retire? You're like in your 70s now. My mom's older sister. And she's like, never. Like, what am I gonna do with like fucking 3,000 patients? All of whom are like depressed and drug abusing, and like life is so hard for them. Crazy, man. She's like trapped. She's also a crazy workaholic. She probably find some way to say the same thing that she's saying now, some other way. But like all these chronic pain people who like you give basically drugs to, and you help them in certain ways, but like they never really get out of it, right? Or at least not the ways that she's been doing it. Or they've been doing it, rather. I feel like this is going slower. It's also going way too high. I love that the gulls are like chilling up here. That boar is better make it back in. He's gonna get excommunicated. But anyway, like rewatching Neon Genesis Evangelion was interesting. I think, how do I say it? It did a really good job of I think in some ways it might actually kind of be like a good metaphor for Japanese culture in the way that he was like clearly having mental health issues. Japanese culture is very much like, regardless of how you feel, you're a part of the society and you're gonna like work to yourself to death. And a lot of people, like myself included, in this, there's a lot of people who like whose mental health isn't like together enough at some points in their life to really be able to like view work as anything but like legit fucking torture. Like just having to be out there every day and like the expectation of being like together enough at any given point that you're like constantly going to work, getting up in the mornings. Like everyone has like those mornings where they're fucked, and to like, I don't know, it just turns into this like dread. And I think that's kind of like to some degree what they were doing there. It's like a good metaphor for depression, to be like a person of very high potential, like Shinji was, or who most of these people in a lot of these like Japanese anime, be the person of high potential who's just like inexplicably unable to do it. That's what depression feels like. A lot of people who are like pretty depressed often are very high IQ people. And there's a lot of people who are very capable who like just don't find that this society is like something that they can really tune into. That's a pretty interesting way to do a TV show, because you're like, what the fuck's the problem with them, man? Come on. Like, get it together like everybody else. But sometimes the smartest people are the people with like a brain that's like too strong for them to control in some ways. And so they have good moments and bad moments, but like often like lose a lot of their lives to like true inefficiency. A lot of like troubled people have been like some of the people who have done the most stuff. This wall has gotten way too high. But yeah, the two pieces of art are very similar. And I would say like still to this day, I spent a lot of time like, I used to be really into like hip hop. I used to like be into a lot of like really new music. I checked out like a lot of indie stuff. I would look at like classic lists from like Pitchfork. But I find I just like listen to like a lot of music that's like a vibe now, and like the last few years, generally speaking. Like way less do I like keep up with music or like try to listen to new albums or like keep up with new singles or get like jazzed about it. Really, mostly I listen to like, I don't know, soundtracks and like video game music. I listen to a lot of video game music. There's a list on YouTube called, the guy's name is Supra Darky. And that guy's shit, he probably has like, before he was banned, he probably had like 2,600, 2,700 songs. And I listened to like all his playlists. And it showed me so much new music. Unloading unused assets. What does that mean? I've never once seen that before. And it's similar to, what the fuck was I talking about? Yeah, I mean, like I learned about so many games and about so much music from those playlists. Is unbelievable. Like once I'd gone through my like second or third full playthrough of all his stuff, I started to realize that like this guy's got like a lot of times he's trying to give people like new interesting music to listen to, and a lot of the songs are like really fucking annoying. But like a lot too many of like the bleep bloop bright trippy ones from back in the day. Way too many of those. But I learned like I actually learned about the game Deus Ex from that list. Like I had heard about it back in the day, but not really that clearly. There's a lot of music, a lot of RPG music, not like from like the non-Squaresoft RPGs, like the fucking Legend of like Grandia and like Grand Stream Saga, and like there's a lot of stuff that I had heard but not that often. Suikoden has very good music. Can you stay up there, please? Suikoden is very good music, I find. One of my favorite. And once in a while, like a song, either from a game you have played or a game that you haven't, will just like hit you in this way, where it's like fucking liquid emotion, man. There's a song from Illusion of Gaia, which is like their like kind of slow melodic song that like sometimes just like hits me. Music has that capability. Music has that capability to like let loose kind of like emotion in you, which like makes life feel worthwhile in a lot of ways. Like that teenage era of like driving around, listening to music and like feeling something really strong. Grandia 2 is really good music. I agree with that. But there's just something in life that feels like listening to music and like kind of riding that emotional high is like part of what makes it all worthwhile. Like being more in touch with like how you like your moods in that way. If you think about it, like there's a lot of things that like there's a lot of things that are like technologically like logical, you know what I mean? Knowledge of physics or chemistry, etc. And there's probably like a lot of things that intelligence-wise, you could say that a lot of like creatures in the solar system or the in the galaxy of the universe could share. But like to some degree, like music does feel human. Like one of our truly unique things. That's cool. Sega Saturn era was like one of the first ones with like that really rich, beautiful soundtrack music. I totally agree with you there, man. It had really good stuff. I feel like, what was I gonna say? Forget. Something along that topic, probably. Yeah, I was gonna say that like something somebody mentioned, like I read it on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. It made a lot of sense to me. It's so interesting how when we always thought about AI, we always thought it would be like it's gonna solve these things in, I don't know, manufacturing and science and logic. And yet the first thing that everyone's been obsessed with so constantly is like the creative parts of it. Like we're totally fucking dialed in on the parts of AI that like mean the least in terms of like utility. Like yeah, it makes sense to be able to like summon a drawing really, really quickly. That's good, but it's weird how much we're looking at the abstract left brain part. I think it's left brain. I forget which one's which. Like it's weird how much we look at like the abstract parts of AI and obsess with it more than like the eminently practical shit. Like I don't know, fucking engineering design and like maximizing emission control or whatever. Did you play a lot of Saturn as a kid? Is that part of the reason that it's like a nostalgic thing? Yeah. I remember my neighbors had that. Playing like old like Highland Games things and like games that I can still remember vividly that I'll never find or something. My grandma had NES. I don't know if I had NES. But I remember getting Genesis for Christmas. And like I was sleeping on the couch. I was sleeping on the floor at like my aunt's house. My mom like whispered to her sister that she got me a Genesis. I was like, yes. Sweet. I heard it. Kids are so good at like finding their presents. I had a friend of mine who would not only find his own presents at his parents' house, he'd come to my house and he'd find my presents too. He's like a crafty genius, fucking Brit. He was British. Well, I guess he was Canadian, but his parents were British. And I remember like calling his house, and if his mom would answer, she'd be like, "Hello," and I'd find myself being like, "Hello, may I speak to Alan, please?" I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing?" It's like I was mocking her, but I really didn't mean to do it at all. But if you use someone's accent, it's really fun to use other people's accents, especially I find like Southern US accents are really fun to use. English ones as well. English ones are a little hard because there's so many different English accents. I mean, there's a lot of different Southern US accents too, but it's a little different than England. No, I haven't seen it. I pretty much had all the systems up until I switched to Xbox, PS2, and Cube and Dreamcast is where I ended with the rest. Yeah, about me too. I didn't have the Dreamcast, but PS2, PS3 was like the last consoles I had. And then it's been like laptop and then like PC gaming ever since. I wouldn't mind getting a PS5. I've been playing so many controller games lately. Yeah, you prefer controller whenever you can? I do. Controllers are so easy, you know? But like, I don't resent if a game makes me play, if a game makes me use mouse and keyboard. I like mice. I like really precise clicking where like, you're on the edge of like how much focus you can do. It's one of the reasons I like League of Legends so much, was like, that really, like, or like a game like PUBG, it's like that really precise clicking where like you actually have to focus as hard as you can to out-aim the other guy. It's like kind of stressful, but it's really cool. It's like part of the appeal. But I get it though. A lot of people just find the controller more easy. Like mouse and keyboard is like uncomfortable. Mouse and keyboard is like worse for posture for sure. And like probably I'd rather have like the repetitive injuries from a controller than I would from. I'd rather like the whatever the repetitive injury is from a controller than like the wrist and fucking carpal tunnel like on your index finger of a mouse and keyboard. That's probably worse, right? Some people also find like a mouse and keyboard like too rigid or like too nerdy or something. I heard that like a lot of like the new COD games basically incentivize the aim assist on controllers so much that they basically want it to be like the new standard, so that there's not like really an advantage to mouse and keyboard players. That's crazy to me. You make the aim assist so good that it's better than using mouse and keyboard. Like that's so weird. I get it, but it's so weird. What the fuck is that? Simmer down, ship. I gotta go repair my... I gotta go take down this pillar. Clang, 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 clang. Do I have enough food on me? I could use another sausage just in case things go awry. Look at this guy. Free piggy? What the fuck did you get out of there? Big storm. See the boats getting bashed around. Have you watched the TV show Better Call Saul by any chance? I've been watching it lately. Pretty restrained, like an episode a week or something. But like, it's the main show I've watched. Like, there's a new show in the last couple of years. I think it's so good. I think it's so good because it's one of the most like complex character. It's some of the most complex character building on a show I've ever seen. Like, no simplicity, no like being bad for bad's sake. A lot of the characters that you are framed as like the worst people, like this, they're not there. They're just like, they're playing with your expectations a little bit. Really good. There's a guy who's like basically seems to be like the buttoned up fucking tight asshole the whole show, the whole series. Then near like the series finale, like the last half of it, it's like there's never really anything he was doing that was that wrong. He's just like unlikable to the main character. It's like a really smart perspective decision they made. I did better this year than most at seeing most of like the big movies. But most of them weren't like that very like, weren't that like complex or sophisticated. So it was mostly like big budgety things. But I do want to see Tar, the Cate Blanchett one. That's like the last of like the, what I find to be the interesting movies out that came out this year that I didn't see. Yeah, and do you know Howard Hamlin? Like the guy who was in Hamlin McGill? That guy I thought was such a fucking good character. Because he really seemed like a total twat the whole time, but he wasn't that bad. Just Jimmy was jealous of him. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend who has not seen Breaking Bad. And she was like, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to kill who between these two characters? I'm like, well, only one of these two guys are in Breaking Bad, so it's kind of a solved thing. No surprises here. That was funny. Like, I got bad news for you. Only one of these dudes makes it through. It's interesting, the way this fucked up about Better Call Saul is like, they have to have guys who are younger be guys who are older. Like, Mike and Gus look older. They're like heavier. Mike looks old. And he's got to play a guy who's like 10 years younger. Crazy. They do a pretty good job with that. Even like, even Jimmy. Like, Bob Odenkirk is not young. That guy's like in his 50s. He's got like legit fucking nearly white hair. But I think Kim, like his wife, is such a fucking babe. Women who are that age, who are like actually fit and like take care of herself like she does, like, it's impressive. I don't know what she would look like in her 20s, but like, it's a girl who's hot like in her mid 40s versus a girl who's hot in like her late teens or early 20s is like a huge difference. Because in your early 20s, you're just like dealing with whatever you're born with. But like, to be hot like in your 40s, that's like impressive, man. That means you like took care of yourself. Like, you're fucking proper. The workbench again. I guess I could just like put the workbench up here and keep moving backwards. That's your perfect idea. There we go. I didn't think of that before. Mike looked tired. He had a heart attack while filming. He almost died, so Bob got to relax. Wait, Bob Odenkirk had a heart attack during filming? Really? Is that who you meant? Wow. Yeah, that'll age you, man. I wonder what caused the heart attack. I feel like, I'm not going to necessarily point any fingers, but I feel like a lot more people than usual like died early in the past year and a half. This felt like I've never heard of a period where like more like celebrities in their 50s and 60s I would hear about dying all the time. So I don't know what that would be, but I don't know. A tough time, I guess. More people are alone. Certain medical things happened. Certain dangers. There's a lot more death out there. At least that's what it felt like to me anecdotally. But I don't, you never really know. I saw David Cross, the other guy that was like Bob Odenkirk's partner from Mr. Show, like randomly in Toronto one day, like walking the street. Like just talking on his phone or something. He was doing a comedy show that night. I don't care about him enough to like say hi. There's very few people who like I would want to be like, hey man, I really like admire you and I want to see you. Like I would never ask someone for a picture. I had a really good friend of mine who like was at like a fucking LCBO, which is like the Ontario like liquor control board, and he saw like a Toronto Raptors player and he didn't have anything for him to sign, so he got this guy to sign his like receipt from the LCBO. I was like, that is so fucking garbage. Like at that point, just don't do it. Like, do you need that? Are you gonna keep that? Like, is anybody feeling good about that interaction? It's so stupid. There's very few people who I'd be like, yo, listening to your stuff like changed my life. Because I don't know. They're just another person. It's like straight up beta behavior. Like I would maybe make like a joke to a comedian or something. If I thought of something funny. Or like just kind of like beam at someone affectionately. But like for me to stop and like shake their hand and take pictures or something like that, like I don't know. I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. Different people handle it differently. That's the thing, is like celebrity is like lords and nobility. Like people assume that despite there being so many people who are richer than celebrities in the world, we sort of like have celebrities as like, oh, I'm gonna abase myself before this person because they're like well known and like we consider them beautiful. But like I don't think people necessarily think about how the fact that they're on screen or in a photo is what makes them beautiful. Yeah, there's like money elements and like cosmetic elements that make people a better version of themselves, and also like most people who are like their profession is based on their appearance will look better. But like with some exceptions, like they're not better looking than like people we've all met in our lives. They're just people who are like more dedicated or more focused. Yeah, there's like the Margot Robbies. There's like the Margot Robbies and like the Brad Pitts, etc. Fucking beautiful ass people. But like that's not that much of celebrity. Celebrity is like more hustle than anything. No one's like, I don't know. They're attractive because they're famous. They're not famous because they're attractive in a lot of circumstances, which is fine. But like, it's just all this like subtle mindfuck. There's like a new Nintendo Direct coming up, and I saw some people who like kind of like a RPG nerd who I have on my Twitter, who was talking about how all he's waiting for, and he's not the only person. I've heard of a lot of people who like all they're waiting for is like a Chrono Trigger remaster, and there's some games where like the remake remaster is like I'm secretly hoping they don't do it, and Chrono Trigger is very much one of those games because you can't improve on it, and like you don't need to. Like, that is, like, lightning in a bottle. Like, making, like, a new version of, like, Trials of Mana or something. Like, they did a bad job of it, but I get that. There's some games that didn't really get much of an audience. But Chrono Trigger is, like, legitimately perfect. Also, that and Xenogears share a composer, Yasunori Mitsuda, who's also very much my favorite. When I was bringing up earlier how there's certain soundtracks and just like generally video game music I listen to a lot more than I listen to other stuff now. I don't think there's probably very few things in life I've listened to more than the Xenogears soundtrack in both discs. That shit is bananas. Can't even see where I'm pointing. It's like totally creative. And like really, really original and like quite beautiful sometimes too. I just wish Nintendo would upgrade their hardware, because until I don't care if they do. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that. I saw a stat recently that was like they showed it was like a graph showing the unit sales for Wii and then Wii U and then Switch. Holy shit, man. The Wii U was like 10% of the sales of the Wii and the Switch. I had no idea how bad that did. That's crazy. But as we were saying the other day, like Switch 2 is most likely, or whatever other thing they're going to do, probably Switch 2. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. They won't because they make cheap shit then sell tons of it, so they don't ever do it. What do you mean? I know, but like, they normally release a new console every 6 or 7 years. Okay, time for a quick farm break. It's been raining like this whole time I've been doing this. Just like IRL. I got sunlight today for the first time. I swear to God, in Vancouver, it's really nice that it's above freezing every day. But I think you get like, once mid-December or like early January started, I swear you get like 1 hour of like full sunshine like a week. It's overcast every morning. I don't really complain. As long as I don't have to wear like a full-on ski winter jacket, I don't care how bright it is. So today I like literally went for a walk just to like get sun in my eyeballs because it'd only been out for a few hours. Okay, so I'm gonna do a line of seed carrots and a line of seed turnips and then store the rest. I'll probably do more than that actually. How many carrots do I have? 32. Yeah, 2 lines of each. Xbox and PS have to lose money on production to make Purple Harbor. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that they operate the consoles on a loss for years. I remember sometimes I'll be watching like a retro video and it'll like give you the prices of like do you remember the 3DO? The 3DO was like $700 in like 1996 or something. Do you understand how fucking crazy that is? Like an SNES was like 150, something like that, I think. Like a couple years back, I heard that some people saying that like Xbox was doing so well with Game Pass that it might just like they might just stop doing consoles and focus on like Game Pass as a subscription for whatever. But now I like hear the opposite, that like Xbox is like trying to kill PlayStation with how good Game Pass is. I don't understand how Game Pass works. Like, I don't understand the economics of, like, putting all that shit on your system. I guess they're banking that the subscription service will eventually be worth it so that most people will get that, and it'll be more than what their unit sales would be total. That's interesting to me. It makes sense. I can't really argue with it. It's like, again, similar to, like, the concern with Steam, but, like, eventually all the shit's gonna go away. And like I'll have spent like $4,000 for nothing. That's not that much. It's like $2,000. 3DO is bonkers. I don't know anyone who had one. I would just read about it in game magazines. I know it had like a strong power, but it was like a random ass company. It was like Philips or something. I used to be into watching, like, I remember when I first heard about, like, how PlayStation was just, like, the failed Nintendo CD system. I was like, oh my god, it's like a conspiracy. It's interesting how things like that can, like, just eventually be, like, well-known facts that are covered by a lot of people. When before it was like, what? Are you kidding me? I remember when Final Fantasy VII came out. Like that, what a huge deal that was, because it was like the first RPG that like broke through to normies. I remember looking at some video game magazine, and it was like trash talking Nintendo basically. It was like, if this game was on N64, it would be like 32 cartridges and cost $2,500. Straight up trash talk. It was Panasonic, right? Philips had one too. It was like 3DI or something. Philips had some system, I think. It was like a disc player. But yeah, Panasonic 3DO. But the price is insane. Yeah, 3DI I think was Philips. And I think it was like just as much of a failure, if not more so. Probably more so. There's a guy on YouTube called SNES Drunk, who I remember this summer, I was like just kind of bored in Toronto, like waiting to, I was just there for a couple months to see my friends and stuff like that, because I spent so much time there. And I was like in the evenings just like chilling, like playing like Breath of Fire 2 or something on my phone, or Shining Force or something, and watching like all of his videos, like on his whole playlist of like 700 plus videos. That's pretty fun. I learned a lot of stuff. He's got videos as it kind of like breaks down whether a game is like actually good or not. It's not just like a retrospective on development or anything. He's like, this game is actually sick and you would never expect it. Or like, this game is so garbage and here's why. He's like very detailed in his breakdowns. I like his videos. He was one of the guys who like would make Let's Plays and then he was like so insecure about them. He's like, oh, these suck, man. No one wants to watch these. I'm just going to talk about this or something. He's like, I understand it. There's a lot of like Let's Plays. I've been putting what's going on over there? Oh yeah, I've been putting VODs on YouTube, and like, there's no reason why someone would watch like my Octopath Traveler videos that are like 90 minutes long more than anybody else's, really. Like, if there's just no purpose, like there's like thousands of them, and like I at least have my face on mine, but like there's so many, and like they get a couple of views, but like the average time that people watch them is very low because there's nothing like, they're just Twitch VODs, right? Like there's no, the YouTube is all retention. For me, it's just having a record of them, I think. That's what's important. I think this angle is getting a bit fucked up. I played some game that had all live action cutscenes with real actors, so I was mind blown as I thought all games would just be real people. Was it like an FMV game for like Sega CD or something? Sewer Shark? Night Trap? Wing Commander? I'd be interested in putting money into Star Citizen at one point and playing it. I mean, it's like, obviously everyone knows, like, to some degree it's like one of those like Eternal Bloat projects. Everyone knows that. But I think having like a full open world MMO that's like set in space where you could really just have whatever task you want, and there's so many systems in game that like you don't have to do anything except be like a long haul pilot if you want, or like a pirate, or like a, I don't know, fucking like a ship racer. That's cool. Yeah. And then you look at the people who like stream it and they're like, they're coping so hard buying like fucking cockpits for their house, and like everyone's like just hoping one day. Pretty funny. It's like they're basically just making the cosmetics to sell more skins to people. It's like mostly what they're doing. It's so funny. It's interesting though. Like, I think that like eventually that kind of shit will be cool. I think that like the kind of the idea of augmented reality, like kind of basically what like Pokemon Go is predicting to some degree, or like those famous like novels like Ready Player One or Snow Crash or something. I think that's cool. Like a guy like me who could like live his normal, could live like a normal life, but also be like at the same time working on some MMO shit at all times. Like that's, I don't know. I think that eventually will be something where that's what like all like the normies think about, or like kind of trying to figure out when they talk about the metaverse, is like a different currency and a different credit system for like a different world that's like superimposed over it. Full VR is like not a pipe dream, but very far away in terms of like livability. We all know, every single person we know who like declares how much they like VR, they stop doing it. Like you don't hear it again after like 2 months, or people get it for like work, but those are the guys who aren't into games anyway. They get it for like fucking from their office because they work for corporations and have unlimited money. I have so many friends who are like consultants or like marketing executives, etc., and they're the ones who have like VR systems, but like they couldn't give less of a shit about it. It's for like to play for like 10 minutes when you're stoned between games of Catan at like fucking 11 p.m. Then you look at $1,000. Then you look at $1,000 ships and realize it's going to be all it is now. Maybe. I don't know. I know a lot of people who put like a little bit of money into the game. Or I know a couple of people. I love the idea of it, but it'll never like. I don't know. I'm not sure that'll be the one that does it. They just need like infinite systems, basically. That's the problem. That's actually, getting back to what I was saying before, that's actually like a smart way to have AI work on game design development. Is if you're ever going to make like an all-encompassing futuristic MMO or any sort of all-encompassing MMO, and you have all these like, you need so many physics systems and so many intertwined economies and so many like materials system. That's something that like AI could figure out more than like infinite employees, which you don't have. It's a tech demo at best. I went all in on a Vive Pro years ago for like $1,200. I used it for about a week. Yeah, that's what happens. Like, people love the idea of it being like, I'm really gonna be into VR games. I have a lot of friends who like will say that, but they're not even guys who like play video games that often. And even like diehard streamers and people with like infinite bullshit money, they still like play it for like a couple of games a year. Unless you're someone like John Carmack who like works in VR and plays Beat Saber, like, and was like, hey, who wants to play Beat Saber with me on Twitter? It's a great workout. I don't know. We're just not there. We're just not there. Like, you either have the treadmill or you press the button and like look to like teleport in like little short increments. It's so stupid. We're gonna play like Doom Eternal on VR? No. Games with like fucking the best movement ever in video games? You gonna do that? You're gonna look forward and like press forward and a dot on the ground? It's like mid-90s Elder Scrolls style. So garbage. We're so far away from it. I don't think people realize that. And like metaverse is like one of those concepts that like I always use my stepdad as like the indicate. He's like the barometer for how big something gets. If he's heard about something, I know it's like been a fairly big deal. Like you have to be at like Lady Gaga 15 years ago level, or like Billie Eilish level, or like metaverse concepts now to like get there. I don't know. He's pretty internet literate. Don't get me wrong, but like he's old. There's like certain things you know that just like penetrate the fucking sphere where people start talking about it. All that shit's getting worse. Yeah, it's like the movement is weird, and also like, what was I gonna say? It seems that like pretty regularly when I read about it, they don't ever have like a solution for like it not being that great movement wise. Like you're gonna look around and be disoriented. Even like playing at my friend's house, like I was playing like some garbage like fucking rail shooter, literally a rail shooter where you're shooting dinosaurs on like a roller coaster, like the fucking 1997 like arcade graphics. And like when the roller coaster would do certain movements, I would like stumble on my feet. Can't be it. I was like, I'm like gonna fall over. If I was like a little buzzed, I probably would have, you know? It's so stupid. If I was like more nervy or something. One time a couple years ago, I had a apartment with like 2 of my buddies, and one of them was going away for the summer, so we got a sublet who was like this really like, he's worked at a tattoo shop, and he was like really nervy and like He's a funny kid, but he was like fucking super nervy and like really kind of like twitchy. And we're playing this game where we stood on top of like this huge log in a park, and you'd be like king of the castle with two people, like doing duels of who would fall over and who could push the other person out with like balance and like grappling and shit. One of my friends is really good at it because he's done a lot of MMA. One of the times this like really spazzy kid, his name was Spencer, went up. He like stood there and he looked at the other person and then kind of like moved around and tensed up and psyched himself out and just like fell off himself just because he like overthunk it. It's like those pictures of like a golden. It's like those videos of like a golden retriever who like scratches his ear and bites a tree branch and just falls over because he's overwhelmed with life. It's like the same concept. They have those multi-dimensional treadmills now, but who has that money? Yeah, I guess that's like the most sensible way that they're gonna do it. But like, is it that cool? Is it? Yeah, it's pretty cool. The like multi-track, the omni-dimensional treadmills, that's pretty sweet. Everything that's supposed to be good will eventually get affordable, right? Like everyone was getting Pelotons before, and Pelotons were like $2,000, and now there's like a Bowflex one that's like $450. Innovation is everything. I listened to a podcast called the All In Podcast. I remember like when the GameStop shit was happening, one of the guys who's on the podcast who actually went to the same high school I went to in Ottawa. His name is Chamath Palihapitiya. He was on like MSNBC just like fucking mouthing off about how everyone was wrong about this and the GameStop people were like these smart retail investors. So I was kind of into what he was saying, so I started watching the All In Podcast, and those guys have got me like rethinking a bunch of shit, to be honest. Like they're all, I don't know, whatever. Some of the things they say are valuable to me. One of the things I find valuable that I've learned from them is kind of like how the market will provide when it comes to like technology and like affordability, etc. There's always people undercutting each other and fucking each other over and finding new ways to do stuff. Canada Goose Down jackets. Everyone who has one of those in Vancouver is like a rich Chinese person. That's who buys Canada Goose jackets. And if you go to like a department store, those jackets are like a rack of those jackets will be chained up. How much do they cost? $1,700? Wow, that's so much. I guess the argument is that it will probably last you for your entire life if you want it to. That's the thing. We have like a disposable clothing culture because people are like, why would I buy a suit for that much when I could go to Zara or H&M and get a suit for like $150? And I understand that, but like, it's kind of like losing that classic way of like that GQ style of like, get a pair of brown Oxfords and black cap-toed shoes and a gray suit, a navy suit, a black suit, and like you're set for life. You know what I mean? As long as you do well with them. Hey, get off that! Hey, get off my fucking lawn! These graylings, man. Yeah. I was just in North Dakota, like, in early November. I drove from Chicago to Vancouver when I was moving to Vancouver with my car. And I stopped in... yeah. So I drove through. I went Chicago, Minneapolis. I'm gonna check my Airbnb history. Because I did Airbnbs for like basically the entire time. And I stopped in North Dakota. I stopped in a place that was just east of Theodore Roosevelt National Park. It was just east and north of there, and it was like a fucked up looking like mining town essentially. Okay, give me my history. Trips. not seeing it here. Why isn't it showing all of them? Okay, yeah, it was called Williston. I was in Williston. Yeah. Yeah, I'm back on Valheim. I'm now doing the terraforming for like the entire base finally. Yeah, I was in Williston, North Dakota. And then I spent the next day, like I took a half-day break to hike Theodore Roosevelt National Park, which is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. I'm not even kidding. It was incredible. And then I drove on to Montana. Montana was also really nice, especially the town of Bozeman. Missoula was alright, but Bozeman was like sick. True big sky country, and like really, really cute girls because of the college, and like really just generally like just a fucking sweet vibe. It got ravished by the oil boom? Yeah. It was like depressing. Like it was one of those manufactured towns for sure, where it's like just like made up suburbs and like parks with like dead grass on it and like only people driving. It was like a little bit depressing for sure. Bozeman was sick. That was like one of those like, I heard it's one of those towns kind of like Asheville in North Carolina, etc., where people are like moving there because it's too expensive in cities. Or like Austin, but Austin's kind of played out to some degree. It was really nice, man. Kai, I'm back on a full day of terraforming this, and once I get to this, I can start making the terraces to like start working on where I'm gonna put stuff. But this is like days upon days of this. Kai was my lucky star today in Dark Souls. Horse meat. He's the reason I got through that boss. His encouragement. Yeah. There's another town that I passed by. What's the capital of Montana called? That wasn't the capital. There was some town I went through that had like big refinery towers like inside the town. And what's the name of it? I don't know. There's a lot of gambling, like a lot of casinos, like in like the main strip. It's crazy. Could have been one of money. What could be one of Billings? Yeah, Billings. I went through Billings and it was like pretty fucking rough, man. Like at night, there was cops everywhere, everywhere, and like everywhere. And a lot of like casinos and fast food and like kind of like another town you could tell was like a worker town. I think it was Billings. Where's the place with like a really nice historical district that's up the hill? Yeah. Kai, these earth walls are way too tall. I'm just like making the lineup of everything. But if you keep doing like the classic style of like doing raised earth just one at a time on like the corner of where you're going, it's just all going up and up. All these hills are going to be too high. But I'm just trying to get like a... I'm just trying to get a circle of the base, you know? Yeah, getting a little crazy over here. I'm going to give these turnips to the pigs. No, I'm going to give the carrots to the pigs. I remember watching Gordon Ramsay's show, The F Word. And he would like, every season, he would like raise some animal in his like backyard with his kids to like show the kids that like this is like these are food and you should like respect them, etc. And one time he had 2 pigs and he fed them a slightly different diet to see if it would be any different when he slaughtered them at the end of the year. And it was like, oh, I never forgot that. Like one pig was getting like olives and like beer and the other one just had a normal diet. Yeah, these are way too tall. I'm gonna have to chop these down, but I'm just trying to get the lines. Because see, over here is the ridge on the top of the area before the mountain. And then if you go then I'm trying to do a flat cross across here. This will be the open area. Big farm on one side, dock in the center, huge dock in the center, and then big animal pens on the other side or whatever else. And then, yeah, go all the way across here. This is kind of funny that there's still water here. And then this is the other part over here that's like also another ridge ending in the river. So those kind of seem like the natural endpoints for how I'm going to sacrifice it. It's way too wide for one person, but it'll be fine. And then all this will be like open area, like maybe the outer castle walls, and then about halfway in, like let's say here or something. Here across, and like I guess over here across will be like the inner walls, and then go up. Yeah, so it's all too wide for now, but it's a start. I got it, man. I'm just gonna take a long time to figure all this stuff out. I'm not at the point now where I have like work to actually do. I appreciate it though. Oh, I gotta repair my trowel. I'm at the point now where I don't really have the vision in there, but just like you were saying before, like to add buildings to each other's bases, I'm totally down for doing that at some point. Get a little extra flair in there. I like that. No, I appreciate it. I'm gonna hit you up with that at some point for sure. Once I start having this open up and I have like a shape for it, there'll be some stuff to do, and I'll appreciate it for sure. And then maybe we'll do some bosses together. Which bosses? Have you done the Mistland stuff on yours yet? Yeah, look how tall this is. So ridiculous. I watched a lot of videos yesterday on like co-carnage, like tips on how to like smooth the earth and like smooth your base and everything. I was doing like looking at some other people's bases. It was fun. What's Moder? Is that a boss? Your Valheim server? So after a bone mass, that means it's the mountain boss then? Was it you? Oh, all your friends left, right? Kai, was it you who made the like mountaintop? Who made the mountaintop base? Like on top of the mountain near the boss? Was that you? Do either of you guys play V Rising? I heard that was pretty fun for a little bit. Did you like show me pictures of it on Discord? It was like a fucking cool castle. I don't know if I could play that and Vampire Survivors in the same year. Too similar. Vampire Survivors is fun. It's really nice to have like a solid 40-hour game that you can just be like, you get every unlock and just like move on with your life for like $6. That was so great. Yeah. Not on Discord, I want to send you clips from YouTube. Yeah. Remember that. Yeah, it's a pretty small thematic similarity, but Vampire Survivors was fun. I enjoyed that. It was like kind of like Hades a little bit. It was like Hades in that you can like get little certain weapon combinations which are just so nutty, just without the same kind of like full structure. I liked it. I also liked how like dopey it was. It was so like. It was like they didn't take it seriously. That's what I liked. I like that a lot about Vampire Survivors. Like some of the later shit was like so goofy. Hey. Hey, get off that. I'll tell your mother. Punks. Okay, how far am I going to take this? All right. Okay, time to take the boat out and see how this looks. This wall is not straight at all. Is he gonna kill me? Oh. Look how low it is before compared to how ridiculously high it got later. It's so funny. That part's lower because of the ocean anyway. Yeah, got way out of control. I love how fucking good the oak trees look. I think those are amazing. If you cut down oak trees, can you get oak seeds? Is that possible? Okay, I like the way this looks in terms of being like a natural rising point. You can get oak seeds? Nice. I really would like to have like a small oak grove in the base. They're so fucking beautiful. I've only cut down 2 oak trees, so I didn't really expect to get any seeds from just 2 oak trees. Yeah. One of the tips and tricks videos I watched yesterday was saying when you replant the trees, plant them on a hill. So all you need to do is cut off the top one and it'll like cause a cavalcade and knock down all the rest of them. Pretty smart. And birch trees look good too. I was last summer, no, 2021, the summer, I was living in a place where like I literally had to burn my garbage. That's how like remote it was. And it's amazing how good birch bark is for helping you start fires. It's like the perfect kindling. Yeah, that's smart. Okay, the problem here is... What's that boar doing out there? Is that my boar? Hey. Is that one of my boars? Is he trying to make an escape? I'm glad boars don't have stamina. That'd be stressful. But I think oak trees look amazing. Like, they're so thick. That's just a random boar? Wild hungry. Alright. Alright, simmer down. Wild and hungry. So he's lost his way. He's probably been out here for months. Alright, see you later. I also learned one of the tricks that the best way to get your boat to stop is to leap off it. Like, basically stops next to immediately. Oh. Look, I'm pretty bashed up there. Okay. So, I'm happy with the general shape. What's this fucker doing? I'm happy with the general shape and like outline, but it's not straight. And this is all a little bit crazy. Oh yeah. So I'm not gonna at this point gonna do the line across because that's pretty far away. But I guess the goal now is to flatten this out into essentially farmland, and then I'll worry about straightening the wall out later. Just keep the tasks varied. Whew, I need some more stamina. These 2 bushes have given me a lot of good raspberries over the year. Thank you for your service. I feel like that was like the most ESL sentence I've said in a while. These 2 bushes have given me a lot of good raspberry over the year. What? Am I fucking Albanian? That game is so funny. On one side, it has like literally 800,000 people watching it on Twitch. On the other side, there's like long-haired sissy dudes with like 400 followers on Twitter being like, I made an app so you can find out whether your favorite streamer supports J.K. Rowling or not. And then having to lock his replies. It's crazy. There's a guy named Distorted Craft who's dropped by the channel a bunch of times in the last couple of days, who's basically been on like a 7-day wait just to play the game. He's so jazzed for it. He wanted me to watch the gameplay showcases. It looks pretty good. It's like Red Dead Redemption for like Harry Potter kids. It was really big on Twitch today when I turned on my computer at like noon I say, or something like that. Really popular. What do you need to get sorted to play it? I need some more fucking stamina. I'm had enough. Like computer stuff or like life errands? Oh, you're getting sorted into your... Okay, I get it. That's really funny. I should have known. I was watching Cadril, who's like a league announcer, play it, and he was wearing like a Gryffindor scarf. Pretty funny. Ravenclaw, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. Imagine, like, thinking you're a certain person in life and then getting sorted into Hufflepuff. Like, what? I always really kind of viewed myself as the main character Gryffindor type figure. Turns out I'm a Hufflepuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you knew. You knew that you're a main character. Look at this guy. What the fuck? This fucking turbo neck. You see that guy sprint toward me? Like a nightmare. The game actually did look pretty sick. It looked like an MMO to me. It looked more like that. It looked more like it should be an MMO game than a one-player game. What's the fourth one? Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and what's the other one? Slytherin. Is that it? No. It's not called Slytherin. It's not called Slytherin, is it? What is it? Yeah, it is Slytherin. In the book, the hat almost places Harry in Slytherin, since you could do great things in Slytherin. Yeah, Harry could. It's just like such a crazy, like, black and white, vanilla and chocolate setup in that book. Very funny. That's what's fun about the early books, is like everything kind of just goes his way. Like, good job, Harry. I'm happy for you. It all goes Harry's way up until like the Order of... No, before the Order of Phoenix. Like the Cup of whatever, the Goblet of Fire. The Goblet of Fire, it starts to like... gets more adult, more complicated. And that's what's so good about the series, is like... the later ones are like pretty dark and kind of upsetting. You gotta have that necessary build-up. And my stamina is charging up so slow. Okay, how much do I want to flatten out here? All the way to the wall, at least in the outer edge. Maybe I'll move the piggies. I saw a video of someone using like a harpoon. It was like something, it was a 2-word, it was like a something harpoon. And you could like pull a pet or pull a creature from one place to another. Kind of cool, I guess. It's funny how that's moving. Whoa. I need some stamina regeneration. This is bullshit. So that's not gonna help. Look how slow this is. Fuck. It's like 2 per second. This part needs to be down, because this is like the castle walls and shit. A little bit halfway across. Can this guy get in here? He can, right? You want some of this? Oh yeah, axe level's 5. I'm a real man now. The big fella? I love these guys. Ever since I saw that Grey Dwarf Brute. Oh! Ever since I saw that Grey Dwarf Brute fighting the like Draugr and winning, I was like, I'm these guys' biggest fan. I loved it. The last like week and a half or so, I've been trying like experimenting on taking like a small little chip of Robaxaset, the muscle relaxer, before bed. Because like usually I wake up in the morning and like my mind is pretty rested, etc. But like I feel like my muscles, like my neck and shoulder, etc. I've just always been like kind of fucked up and tight for years. I'm trying to see if it works. But I also noticed since I started doing it, I'm just starting week 10 of a 13-week exercise program. And to some degree, the last like week or so, I'm like weaker and I'm taking longer to do the workouts. I'm not weaker on all sets, but I'm weaker on some sets. I'm just kind of wondering whether it's the Robaxaset or whether it's just like them getting tired all this time into like in like week 10 of a 13-week program, which has been like a pretty hard program. I've been working pretty hard at it. I'm kind of wondering. I'm gonna take it off on the days I go to the gym for a week and see if I notice a difference. Because I keep a logbook, and like some of my shit, I've been like 2 reps weaker on this week compared to the last time I did it, which is 2 weeks ago. That's weird. It shouldn't be that way. It's funny, like the little moments at a gym which like you find satisfying. Like a very tall, strong person asks you to like help them to spot them on their bench press or something, and you're like, yeah, he thinks I'm strong. Or I'm at least the second strongest person in the room. Yeah. Like I feel like important. It's like puffed my chest up. I was like, yeah. Yeah, he chose me. So funny. Like cheered me up for like literally 15 minutes afterwards. This guy's a beast too. He's like quite tall. He's like 6'3", and he's not like super jacked, but he's like tall and looks like a warrior. And he does a lot of like compound lifts, so like deadlifts and like bench press and shit like that. And the weirdest thing is like when he he got a lot of tattoos and things like that. But when he speaks, he has like the most like precise and like articulate way of speaking of like anyone I've met in a long time. It's weird because he's like got a beard and like fucking tattoos everywhere and everything. But then like he passes you by and he's like, pardon me. And like his sentences are like so precise. Not like mine. I kind of like rush everything and kind of like slur it a little bit. I'm not that clear of a talker. But it's like, it's always surprising when you see like a super fucking strong guy Or just someone who you wouldn't expect to be like so, I guess, like articulate or like precise speaking. Who says pardon me? Nobody. Saint Bernard is your Patronus? Is that like a real saint? Or like a Harry Potter universe saint? Oh, Patronus, right? Yeah, of course. That's a funny Patronus, man. The big drooly dopey dog. Carrying bourbon to people lost in the mountain. Those dogs are crazy. Like my parents, as I said before, my parents had a Bernese Mountain Dog. And that dog was like energetic in the depths of winter. Like she would like shove her nose into the snow and like sprint around in winter. And then in the summer, she would just lie there the whole time. But like legitimately fucking energized. It'd be like minus 15. She loved it. Why didn't you get dolphin? Number one for who? The dog would like shovel her snout into the snow and like throw it in the air, just run around. So cute. So if number one was dolphin, why didn't you get dolphin? What am I missing here? This is gonna take so long. This is gonna be days of this. I love it. Just brain off tinkering. Good way to relax in the evenings. And at the end of it, you have, you know, at the end of it, you have a castle. So a sense of accomplishment. Smile. They ask you to think of your fondest memory, then post like 3 words in the screen you choose quickly. Oh, I see. Dolphin would be an awkward Patronus. It's like, is it just like flopping around and gasping on the ground? Can somebody get that dolphin some water? What did Harry have? It was like a graceful stag? His father's stag or something? I'd want something like squat and dopey. I always like squat and dopey things. I guess because I'm not squat. I might be dopey, but I'm not squat. So I always like things that were like so different than me. I wanted a bulldog. I like pot-bellied pigs. I think they're really cute. I like pigs generally. So cute, man. I just like simple creatures that are all about like the thing they do. I also like hardworking creatures, like bees and ants and everything. Those like constant industrious things. They're just like this, like the hustle maniacs. Those are my favorite. I love bees. Yeah. Yeah, me too. There's a lot of like perception about pork meat being like pretty bad for you or like more industrialized or something. But I'm gonna eat bacon. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna eat bacon, duck fat potatoes, and eggs for breakfast after the gym every day. And that's just gonna, it's just the way it's gonna go. Other things are fine, I guess. Like I'll buy sausages to put into pasta sauce sometimes. And like ribs are pretty good, but like kind of a gamble. Like ribs can sometimes like suck and not be worth it. But it's still, like bacon is like a whole thing. There's other good things too, I'm sure. I just can't really think of them currently. It is rough sometimes when you like see a truck pass by and you see all these like piggies in there. You're like, oh man, they're going to the place. And what's even sadder is when like kids in like rural ass places are like cruel to them because they're like punk kids working at like a factory, like a meat packing place. There's no worse job than like meat packing, I think. It's rough. My mom grew up in a really rural place, and when I visit, there's like a butcher nearby who sometimes will pick up stuff from, because it's cool to get meat from like a actual place that processes it. And there's this guy that works there. He like, I don't know, he's probably like early 30s or something, but he looks much older and he's missing a leg. And he just sits there like kind of short and chubby and bearded, just like carving meat things all day, not allowed to like talk to the customers. He sits back there and he's just like constantly processing stuff. And it's just like, man, that guy looks so depressed. I really enjoy snout to tail. There's just not a bad part of it. It's true. Also, you know, snout to tail eating is something that we've kind of forgot about, like in modern times. Like we only eat muscle meats, and it's one of the reasons we're like less healthy as a civilization. We get less collagen. We get less like complex minerals and vitamins in our diet because we don't eat liver, we don't eat heart, we don't eat like brain or tongue or anything. Unless you get like ethnic food, you know? Go to like a Lebanese restaurant or something. But getting all that collagen, getting all that like bone broth from the beef, bone marrow, all that shit, that's like a noticeably healthier way to live. It's like a much more, it's better for your stomach, and it's a much more complete diet. Yeah, beef tongue's good. I had a tongue sandwich like a couple weeks ago. Good. I had beef tongue tacos a couple weeks ago. It's good. I had one al pastor, one beef tongue, and one chorizo. And the beef tongue was probably the best one. It's amazing. Chorizo is good. No one's complaining about chorizo. Well, I'm sure there's people complaining about chorizo. Let's not get out of hand here. Lingua tacos. Yeah, that's the same one. I think that's the way it's spelled. Yeah, I think you're right. Shit's good. Did you know that al pastor, from what I read, I'm not sure it's true, but I'm pretty sure it is. From what I read, al pastor tacos were actually invented by Lebanese immigrants. There's apparently a fair amount of Lebanese immigrants in Mexico City, and they kind of like started using the like classic shawarma technique to put pork with pineapple on the same kind of machine, and that's how al pastor were invented. And al pastors are like the signature tacos in Mexico City, which is like one of the biggest cities in the world. It's apparently true. You had steak street tacos tonight. They're delectable. I bet they were. Like carne asada. No, Lebanese food is one of those things that like is hugely underrated. It's kind of hard. Like I grew up in Ottawa. Ottawa has a lot of Lebanese people. Apparently, outside of Dearborn, Michigan, Ottawa has the highest percentage Lebanese population in like North America. And the thing is that there's a lot of like shawarma places and Middle Eastern restaurants that like kind of give Middle Eastern food a bad rap, honestly, because it's pretty fucking trash. And the reason it's trash is because not many people get it. So if not many people get it, then what are you making this like fucking 50 to 100 pound skewer of chicken breast for if it's going to take like, what are you going to do at the end of the day? Like like, what are you gonna do at the end of the day? You're gonna like put it in the fridge and then bring it out tomorrow, heat it back up and serve it again? You can taste the difference. You can taste how much worse that meat is when people do that. But really, really, really good Lebanese shawarma restaurants, like proper family-owned one where they make the garlic sauce. And then there's so much business that people are making, like they're rolling out like a new fucking chicken kebab, like a new chicken skewer, like every couple of hours. That stuff is like unbelievable how good it is. Like I can't even describe how good it is when like shawarma is really fresh. It's night and day, man. Like it's to a point where like I go to I've lived in like cities outside of, I've lived in other Canadian cities like Toronto. Toronto is statistically, like, I haven't read this in a couple of years, but Toronto is statistically the most multicultural city in the entire world. So obviously there's a lot of different food there that's quite good, including shawarma. And like, I won't go to any of them. Like not one of them. It's not worth it. All these sad places with nobody in them. Brutal. But when you get the good shit, oh my god. That garlic sauce that like some old grandma makes, sitting at like the table, like takes up one of the tables the customers could have. Sitting there with like one of those gigantic fucking steel mixing bowls. Just filled to the brim with garlic cloves. That's her only job for the day. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The water's still seeping through. This is worrisome. Hope the salt water doesn't ruin my farms. Yeah, but steak street tacos are good too. I watched a video a couple weeks ago about like making good carne asada tacos. I don't remember many of the details, but it's like, it's pretty good. Okay, do I want to keep some of this? Do I want to keep some of this river? Maybe I will. I like this place. These reeds are nice. I'll have to raise all this a little bit so that I can put a farm here. Or maybe I'll put the pigs here. I'll put the farm on the other side. Still looks pretty cool. Okay. Need to even this out a little bit, be a little more symmetrical. One of my like known memes when I was playing this game earlier was like I'd be out in some fucking random place getting killed and like running back to my corpse or everything like that. In some crypt getting like attacked, poisoned. And then the messenger will come across the street and be like, you don't feel rested anymore? I'm like, yeah, you're telling me I don't feel rested anymore. I just like the wording. You don't feel rested anymore. You're like out in the woods, like worried, alone. Look at this. Fucking ocean. Alright, now we got a pickle. Water's going under the earthen thing. Okay, well that's... Oh, cross that bridge when I come to it. All right. Okay, will that kill my... You think if I put a garden there in the way it is now with the water going up and down, do you think it'll kill the garden? Does the salt water ruin it? Is that how this game works? Ooh, I can make a little cutout, make a bridge there, and have the river go through. That's so sick. I can build like a bridge over. All right, love it. So I really like the way that this organically is going a steady level, and this is because the difference is this way I did it from the top down, Whereas the other way I did it from like the wall, and I just continued the wall all the way. So I really like the way this goes. I'm gonna see if I can do something similar. And then eventually I'll have to make a wall all the way across the back too. Once I kind of figure out the straight line. Instead of learning from mistakes, I will continue and all in. I just need to have a sheer line here. Oh. Oh. What time is it? 9:45? Alright, I got plenty of time. At least an hour and a half more. At least an hour more, I mean. What is that? It's like a core. What is that? Just like it's just like the sunset light on the water? Alright. I think I widen this so that when I make a straight line across, I have some wiggle room. It doesn't widen much doing this, I find. Especially not at night with expiring foods. Oh. I haven't seen Dear Odin come check in on me in a while. Spooky motherfucker. Alright, that's enough of this. Time to leap to my death. Not that bad. I got flints here. Where do I put flints again? I don't remember. Yeah, I still haven't figured out the right one for that. Who are you talking about? Oh, nice. Fan club? Oh, Odin was all over you? Yeah. Sorry, I kind of forgot what I was talking about there. I'm glad you're part of the Harry Potter fan club. This must be a really good moment. What's your wand? You got some unicorn hair? You got a unicorn tail hair in there? You have a dragon's whisker? What do you got? Is it maple? Oak? I was talking about Shaft. Unicorn tail alderwood, 14 inches. Let's go. Alderwood. I don't even know what I kind of know what an alder tree looks like. I couldn't like summon it in my mind though. What I got here? 30 seeds. Every single time I plant shit here, I think about RimWorld. Every single time. That could be a fun stream game. I might put that in at some point. Maybe playing it on stream will make me finally finish a playthrough. And make me not like save scum like a pussy. Can't believe I have to play more Dark Souls tomorrow. More suffering. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna use. That big ass dragon's tooth is pretty fun. Yeah. Alright, little fishing break. This area is like casually flooding. I'm about to raise all of it. Guess I'll do that now. So start from the highest point. Radiate out. I saw one of the really cool things I saw in the video was like a trick for making a circular room. And I think what they did is they put a single beam and they put like the 1 meter beams, the short beams, in like each time rotating about one piece. So all the beams went out like a radial around the central beam. Then you straight outs from there to connect it to such a point that you can like make the outer walls, and then you take out the middle, and so it basically comes out to be like essentially close to a circle. Just by virtue of having the original points to snap to. That was really cool. That was a very smart idea. That's something I'll try to do. It's back! Ugh. I had my first ever, actually. I started doing this in November, and like largely thanks to you, later this past week, I had the first ever one. I had the first ever stream summary that had me as like an average of 1 viewer as opposed to 0 point something. That's you're a big contributor to that, and I appreciate it. It's a nice thing to see. It's interesting when you're first starting, is like you really have to be like, I've learned you have to be pretty selective on the games you play. Because I played Deus Ex and had some like nice conversations, but had a lot of technical issues, etc. But mostly just played Deus Ex. And then I played Octopath Traveler, and it was like dead zone. Like no one interacts with you literally ever. And it didn't really do much. But then Valheim and Dark Souls has been like a totally different, more interactive, and like more satisfying and more social thing. So it's really interesting the way you have to like, I hate that I have to like, sometimes I'll look at what people are playing and be like, wow, everyone's playing this. I don't really necessarily feel that temptation to do that. That's not really like the purpose of what I'm doing, either now or ever. But it's interesting to see how like you can't just play whatever you want, to some degree. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it'd be nice to at least get affiliate. That would feel like an accomplishment. That would feel like I'd have a little bit more feeling that I wasn't just like using this time for nothing. Okay, this looks flatter, and this does not, well, it doesn't look flatter now, but at least above the surface here. Okay, it's only going up across certain points. I would say for growing the channel, consistency is good. All in all, I say just have him play which one. Exactly, yeah. I'm just saying that, like, there were moments where I was like, wow, Octopath, like, I'm getting like 2 live views in 2.5 hours or an hour and a half. And then, like, it just like the game you play and the community you go into can make a difference when, like, you don't have followers. Do you know what I mean? It's not something I'm, like, really worried about, but it was just really interesting to notice different vibes in different places. And, like, even Valheim people are, like, more friendly than Dark Souls people. Dark Souls people are, like, into Dark Souls games and want to talk to you about Dark Souls. And they're, like, obsessive. I mean, games like that, too, like, games like Octopath Traveler have a lot of dead time and a lot of dialogue. Those aren't necessarily the things that people find typically very fun. Anyway, yeah, I didn't bring it up like I'm sort of like... I didn't mean to bring it up like I'm like really, really thinking about that thing that much. But I have noticed a totally different feel to people coming in depending on what I'm playing. Like, no one would say anything when I was playing Octopath. One guy came in, I was like doing some voice for it that was like some outlandish British accent, and I never even know. I don't find the, like, Twitch stats tab or doc or whatever on OBS is very accurate. Like, it almost never updates, and it doesn't really give you like a live kind of like feed of when people are coming into the channel or not. But it's out of nowhere, someone's like, do the next guy in Ebonics. And it's just left after that. It's like people kind of like dipping by and leaving again. It's so funny. Look at this. Fuck. Okay, this ocean is making this a harder place for... Okay, I'll just make animals here. It won't matter that it's got wet. Yeah. Yeah, those games are, like, less fun for people to watch for sure. But I think that there's, like... I think there's, like, a Let's Play market for, like, people who... There's a lot of games people want to play, but sometimes people would rather watch a game than play it themselves. Or, like, some people are watchers more than players. I can't watch other people play. My attention wanders totally. But I can play a lot with other people watching. And I've had friends who would, like, come by my house and just, like, chill for an hour or two to watch something. But it depends on the game as well. I have a friend of mine who would come by and we'd just smoke weed and play TFT for, like, hours. Literally hours. He'd love it. Or if I was playing a one-player game, he would, like, sit on the couch and watch, like, someone play Loop Hero or someone... He'd put on, like, a 4-hour Let's Play. And he'd be totally happy doing that. Depends on your personality. It's interesting. There's different types. If I watch Twitch... and I'm not trying to learn something about a game that I don't know, I will turn it off in like 20 minutes or less to go do that same thing myself. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people who play video games have friends like that. I had one friend who I introduced to Hearthstone when I played Hearthstone. Like 2016, 2017, whenever Hearthstone was like in the first few years. And he would play that, but it's because he loved arenas so much. Because the great thing about arenas is that you didn't have to have a deck. It would be fresh every time. So he would get into that and he played at home. I thought Skyrim was one of the... I had played... like maybe at someone else's house. I had played like an hour or two of like previous Elder Scrolls, like with number 2 or something. But I never really played much of an Elder Scrolls game until I moved in with a buddy of mine, and he had a PS4 or PS3 with Skyrim, and that shit, like, I that was a period where I'd stay up all night all the time. And then I just like day after day after day, I would try to fix my schedule by staying up all day. And I'd play Skyrim from like 10 in the morning till like whenever I'd fall asleep at like 5 or 6 or something. And I've almost never played a game that much as I did. And I really liked it. And the thing I really liked about Skyrim, I know it's not like a really like super original thing to really like Skyrim, it's sick. But the things I really like about Skyrim is that like the tone of the game and the feel of the world like matches the like buggy, empty nature of it. Like you kind of feel like you're this like demigod in a lonely world by the time you get to the end of it. Like when you're so powerful, you own all this land, you're warping everywhere, you have houses in every town, you're so wealthy, you can kill anything. And like the bugginess of the game actually like fits the aesthetic of it in a way that like never happens in games. And it's really what makes like, to me, it's what makes it so special. Like just crazy shit's happening, but like the world is lonely and everyone's like grim and like dour, and it just fits so perfectly. Yeah, but like that's something that like I don't know if like those things like that are just those things like that, like the way the soundtrack is like lonely and quiet to some degree, but like things like that you can't. I don't believe that they like knew that was part of the experience they're making. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think that's like necessarily planned. I think that like is one of those things where like magic works together. Obviously the game is sick and it's epic and a lot of cool stuff happens, and like it was kind of like one of those peaks for Bethesda, who's a very fucking cool company. But I don't think that's something that you can like plan for or necessarily replicate with a later game. Like maybe Starfield will feel very empty. I want to play it. I'm excited to play Starfield. Starfield, Darkest Dungeon 2, and Baldur's Gate 3 are like 3 of the games that I really want to like play like as soon as they come out this year. Darkest Dungeon comes out May 8th, I believe. Just like by the end of the time, like I started off playing a mage in Skyrim, and then it eventually became clear that like they're fucking garbage because you can't, like your spells don't like scale with your items. You just like can just cast them more often, and like random like fucking bears and mountain lions will like kill you when you're like walking places. You're like, this sucks. And I didn't necessarily feel like playing like a heavy dude, so I did like the standard like Khajiit thief. And then all those Dark Brotherhood quests and Thieves Guild quests and all this amazing armor sets you get from it. And just all this stuff is so fun, especially if you've never played an Elder Scrolls game before. You're like, what the fuck is happening? This is incredible. And it's just a really good experience. And you're so powerful. And like you can one-shot so many things that you want to, and stealth is so easy to level. A lot of that's really fun. Yeah. Exactly. The buggy mess was part of the charm. But I was like, this mage sucks. Like, I'm so weak. I'm so vulnerable to, like, animals of the wilderness. What kind of playstyle is this? I was, like, terrified. Ooh, I kind of injured myself at the gym a little bit today. Broke my cardinal rule of not doing a warm-up set on squats. And so I just did into like a pretty heavy squat set. Like I was expecting to do like 6 to 8 reps. I did 8. But like the first one was like instantly hard and like instantly strained. And now I feel this like inflammation in my lower back on the right side. But I've had this before from like doing deadlifts and everything. It'll just feel like tight for a week or so. It doesn't really hurt. Just a little bit unlucky. I just like wasn't adequately prepared. It's a seagull in my pig pen. I feel like I haven't fed those pigs in a while. Here you go, fellas. Enjoy. Oh, get up there. Oops, forgot to hit the stone. This is kind of a waste of stone to just be widening the wall. But whatever. Spending all this time widening a temporary wall. I'm not really in a rush. You want to be efficient in this game and always have like a priority list of what stuff you're doing. For sure. But like, if you want something that kind of like matches the environment, it's also kind of a labor of love. You find things like realizing I'm going to put like a overpass over the place where the river is over there. You want time to like discover those happy little accidents. Smile. Another thing that's nice about playing Valheim is that I've had less, or having like at least someone in the, like one or another person in the channel more often, is less of those like fucking people who are like pretending to be a girl who come into your chat and give you the same like copy paste bot questions being like, hey, you new streamer, do you stream every day, blah blah blah, would you like, can I give you my Discord, or can I hit your Discord to give you my art portfolio, would you like, you could use a banner. And it's like the same guy in like 100 different accounts. That's happening less. That's nice. He's so sick of it. You're like trying to be you're trying to like be courteous and patient, but then it's like the same guy doing the same thing. It's like so disrespectful. Oh, I'm out of food. That was a nice slide. Didn't take any damage there at all. Try to thicken this out so it'll be a little easier to pickaxe down and place a wall across it more forgivingly. When did I die over there? That's random. I died to a Grey Dwarf Brute outside my base? I kind of remember that, vaguely. Alright, man. Have fun. Hope you enjoy. Relive the Harry Potter adventures of your youth. See ya. Okay, it's getting a bit dark, so this gets a bit more difficult. Okay. It seems like there's like an upper limit to how much you can do with just the leveling tool. The level ground option. Until such a point that you redo this part. Then you can maybe get a little more after that. But like, yeah, you can only like jump up one increment or so. Okay, so I suppose the most interesting thing is to figure out what the outer terraces are going to be like. There's just so much honey. I could sell it or something. Nice some water right back. Okay. Okay, I feel like kind of evening this part up for a while. Okay, this is kind of a mistake. Try to even this out a little bit more so that water doesn't seep through. They call that seepage. Looks like it will. Probably redo this with grass and have the initial I guess I'll have the initial pig area out here-ish. Outside of the castle walls, naturally. And then I could flatten more of this, but I don't necessarily find that it's necessary. And then I don't mind this as like the rough idea for the interior base, because there has to be like the central area here where I'll pull the docks into. So you pull the ship through here, that can go from here to here. And then basically do like a rough square. The thing is, once I start doing the straight stone blocks, then I start to have like some sense of like a rough shape of it. Again, and then you don't want to be kind of underwhelmed by how many like square right angle areas you have. You want to like still have some nicer areas. Instead of going to have it kind of be concentric squares within it is ultimately sort of the plan, or concentric rectangles. But I think it's only 2 iron for a crafting station. So I think, well, I mean, I should probably lower this all. I think if I can lower this all, and then tomorrow put the stone walls up. Maybe it's a waste of time to lower it again after raising it, but I basically want it to be at this level of the ridge. Then there's enough wall to like at least be clearance. Taking its time going down, isn't it? That should be good for tonight. That'll be like my rough shape. Kilobytes per second was in the red there for a second. I wish I really more so knew what that meant. It's a lot of things I'm still very much winging. I don't like spending due diligence time on figuring out technical stuff. Okay, good. Want some? Oh, the jumping power move. Rare treat. Okay, that's there. These are grudgingly going down. Kind of going down to ridges there, huh? Yeah, this is a good level. I'm happy with this. That's awkward. All right. Keep chunking it down a little bit there. This feels pretty good. Getting a little divot. Get it up. Okay. This feels like more reassuringly smooth now. Mm-hmm. I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that. The old school Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's first special I ever saw was Killing Him Softly, and that shit of like old Dave Chappelle, like his old high whiny voice, unbelievable. I was dying of laughing. It's the craziest special. Over time as I watched it more, I was like, all right, it's like a little bit ridiculous how much he's like clearly making up bullshit stories. Like, that's fine, but like I've never seen like a comedian who made up stories that are more like made up just for laughs, so it can kind of seem like a cheap trick sometimes. But he is extremely fucking funny, and like even shit like Half Baked, this is not raising more. Even shit like Half Baked was like really funny. What's that not raising? That's so weird. Okay, so just solve for height here. The rest will follow. So going by the levels of the ridge, this part was actually not that crazy. It's going to take a couple of passes, of course. Okay, so it's not dark, it's just, you know, rainy. Something that seemed to be like a good thing to remember from watching the Co-Carnage base tour that I watched last night and other times in the past is to try to get it so that you can move through your base for defenses as best you can while staying dry whenever possible. That makes sense to me. Okay, so this is getting a little bit weird. Like, the part I thought was way too high is now kind of seeming to be, like, mostly normal. But what could be the case is that the other thing to remember is that I'm not really like going lower anymore. Basically straight across. Oh yeah. Those neck muscles on either side of the vertebrae, those are the big boys. Besides some other little small ones that like are up behind under the skull, like here-ish. Little triangular muscles. It's the ones on either side of the neck at the shoulder and along the vertebrae, which seem to like always be like a little bit fucked up. I don't know if you guys had the same problem. It started happening for me when I started like being really, I had a lot of like life stress and I was staying up all night and like discovered caffeine and smoked a lot of weed. And started being like, I started to get like eye twitches and like cheek twitches and everything that I couldn't like, that would be like really, really consistent, like steady trembling. And then just one day I woke up with this like killer like back of the neck fucking tension headache. And like just like the whole day, and then those would happen like once every week or two after just some bad night's sleep. I think I kind of did it from the tension, but also like slept that night, like stuck my head like propped up in a weird angle behind like 2 thick feather pillows, and then just started having those headaches really regularly. And even now, like I've like got it down to a fact where like know mostly that it's like neck tension, etc. But it's still like a fact that like the neck muscles are just not like mobile. Massage helped. Massage is really good for, I don't think massage necessarily like fixes your problem, but massage is really good for like exploration of like which parts are messed up. I think massage is really good for that. It's like a good like diagnosis tool, in my experience. I think I generally knew that the terraforming would take a while. I guess I could say that I didn't think it would take this long, but I also didn't really know how long it would take. Once in a while it's like a sound like someone bumping into your screen door. Well, much. Okay, so the height of this is not that weird. It's just that this part's quite low. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this part here, which is all pretty standard. And then I'm going to run up to the top and get it to that height again, the ridge. Oops. Okay, so here's the ridge height. I'm happy with this. This is just a little flat and blunt. So this is fine. This is a good place to start. Yes, I'm quite wet. I'm in the rain. I understand that. This is too wide in some ways. Okay. So why can I raise that up so much but not this? never makes sense to me. Still needs to be this height. Then smooth. Then carry forward. And I just need to have this base here so that when I start building the outer wall, which will essentially to begin be straight, it'll be enough to help determine how these like angles and crannies will work. Yeah, this is fine. It seems like further away parts raise more, but there's a limit to it. Okay, I'll be raising all this like I didn't think I would have to. Doesn't do much. Now it seems like so high. I could also figure out a way. I don't know if the lily pads and everything would stay, but I can figure out a way to put a river under the whole base, which would be fucking awesome. Got my championship belt and my cloak on. I'm like a fucking wrestler. I look like Macho Man Randy Savage. Love it. Oh. Not only is it terraforming time, this whole area is a terranigma. That's what I'll call my stream tomorrow. Alright, what's going on here? Snack on some honey. Can't eat any more honey. Golden mushrooms, blueberries. We're doing great. Okay, so that's the level of the ridge. Alright. That's pretty high. That's fine. I got stone. Well, not right now, but generally speaking, I have stone. Where the fuck did that bench go? $10.34. Okay, not too many more days. This saucy little fellow. This is an interesting thing. Can he make it back up? He can still find the way. Alright, you win. Let's get you back down. Another one? Okay. Oh, I gotta get some stone. Alright, let's get you fellas out of here. Alright, fellas. That's enough. Little cuties. These are my stress testers. I love these guys. They're pissed. The workbench right there. Why can't I open that? Alright, let's get you under and let's stress test this again. Can you guys make it down? Oh, how's it feel? Interesting. That was so funny. You little rascal. Oh, you little rascal. Oh boy. Okay, so the other thing to consider is whether this would be better as the first layer of stone rather than this. That's a problem for another day. But this is way higher than the rest of this shit. Like, this is the previous general average height, and that's way higher. So let's not maybe waste too much stone here. Let's not get too crazy. It's more satisfying to lower it. Ultimately, we'll just kind of like choose a single height. Roll with that. It's definitely not that. It's got a little crazy. So how do I choose the point? It'll be sunk into the height of this, is how we'll do it. So I'll cut this down once I start to make some stone blocks. I'll chop this down and put the stone block so it's at the height of this, and then move that across along and kind of like carve accordingly. And I'll get a fair amount of stone back by doing that. There's never a shortage of stone. Alright, so then we'll kind of adjust as we go. So now, so for now, spend a little more time evening this out. And then probably raise this shit up a little bit. Do 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 do. This is actually pretty fun. I thought it'd be like a little more anxiety inducing because of like binding decisions. I don't really find that. I saw a turnip just puff up. So heartwarming. It's kind of a secret is to take a middle point and raise that up a little bit if everything's too low and just pat everything around it. It should pat everything up a little bit. Not always, but generally speaking. These walls don't need to continue because this is going to be no longer a house. This is going to have to be parallel. This will be like the cutout that I'll drop out for the dock. Okay, time to drop this then. It's taking a while. Extend this a little bit with the leveling tool. Pretty effective. So I got all the stone from over there. Roger that. This will be the farms. Doesn't have to be too much now. Okay, this is roughly connected. Use one more wood stack, I guess. Stone stack, sorry. Stylish little slide down, don't mind me. Probably used like 300 stone so far. I have no idea. Looks mad awkward. What's happening here? Are we like in some sort of like matrix of diagonals? They're not allowing me to do? Am I like off axis so much? Alright. So I'm gonna go behind it and take a look at things. Maybe up on this roof. Can I get up on this roof? Oh! The in-base death. Come back, there's like trolls eating my fucking blueberries. I didn't think this would start happening till the building stage where I was on scaffolding. Alright, let me just dust myself off and recover my corpses. Recover my dignity and my clothing. R.I.P. pal. You had a good run. Is this corpse gonna stay there? It's a little intense. What am I doing? Yeah, checking stuff up here. Right, got it. I guess I might as well use my beacon towers. They used to have torches in them. It's not that helpful. Okay, so there's definitely gonna be some symmetry issues, but this is again, it's like a rough blueprint. I just need to have some general height there. And then eventually I'm gonna have to do a back wall. Where these reach to now is not like an acceptable part of it. It's way too far forward. Unless I do a here, I'm probably gonna do a here, and then up, and then here, and then up, and then here again, as opposed to doing a straight one all along here. We'll try again to endeavor to make it so the top of the stones are along here. And then all the way across here and there. And then I'll remove the middle part to make the docks. Build the docks in. So I can have the bumpers and the stone stairs. I can make all those things, right? Like the stone stairs, etc. Stone stair, yeah. Arches, pillars, walls. Iron gates, wood iron poles. I have most of the stuff that I'll need. Okay, so is there anything in the meantime? Not really. Let's have to use these angles to go here and then across and then here again at the 2 points that'll have like the division for the dock. And that'll be the central area. And then the other, that'll be the other main floor area. Is figure out that. Figure out where the other things that'll be like the 1F, the lowest partial part, which will be flat all the way across and reaching back here. I really like the river winding through. There is a world where I can connect these two rivers through the base for like a secondary or interior moat and like a true sense of vibes with oak trees, etc. That's a new development and the main thing that I really realized today when I was poking around at it. So the next goal is to build out and then adjust as I go along to do the full first line of stone walls for the outer keep. And then it'll probably have to be like a triple wall. The wind knock you over there, bud? You went the wrong way if the wind's gonna knock you over. And probably do like a triple height wall all the way across. And then make the incisions for the middle part. I'm not going to move it all the way across here because that means I have to break the house up, which I'm not going to do yet. And then dock, move these things in here. And if those things are in there, then the thing is, you want a certain flow of ships and portals, both being equidistant to the series of chests, which function as a wall. And then on the other side of the wall of chests, you have your production. But you also want to have a central pathway that's my staircase up. And to figure out how that works, maybe that there's 2 walls of chests on either side of the staircase. Right now these walls are not symmetrical, so these things are really going to change. So it's basically the whole base is going to go in like this and like this. So this wall is more correct, whereas this one's kind of fucked up in the wrong way. Like the whole base is the wrong angle currently. If these are like the essential, the ways where it's like the ridge of the river to that island, and then across to here, and then that ridge river here. I'll use those two ridges to the best I can. That is a problem, is if this orientation here is too different than this one, that'll be like the main sort of annoying symmetrical issue that's going to bother me. So I'll try to do that, and I'll try to do that. There's just nothing much I can really do about it right now. And you can always kind of like fudge it a little bit. Like here, this should be like basically, this is all fake. Oh, so I can basically move it. So basically just try to have this wall. So that's the challenge to do, is to make it so these two starting points are at the same angle from the two river ridges, such that I can straight shot all the way across. But if those two aren't, we'll go here. So essentially you want to do a here and a here to have like orientation blocks, or like here or whatever, and then straight across. That's the thing. These are the challenges. I'm gonna have to do like overcompensation long ones. Okay. So I can kind of try to plot it out now. It's like the guy going like this. Should like make the screen, or like this for the camera. That's what I'm doing right now. And I gotta just hope that these two ridgeline walls that I fucking eyeballed, that are 400 meters away from each other, will hit the same angle. But they don't. This one's more like this, and the other one was like this. This one's like a more true line in terms of like the geography. So this one being shorter and with less important points probably could be the one that I can mess with more. That should be something I probably do tonight. Okay, yeah, that seems like fairly doable. So basically what I do is I just try to clunk two orientation pieces. Like boom, here. Or even like in more. But somewhere along here. Boom, basically here, and then go straight out this way. Or I'll deal with this tomorrow. Hopefully the same preset's still there tomorrow. I'll do one more day, and maybe redo that whole segment. Die in my base, so I can keep my running above. I don't even think it's a 40. Amidst the crash of arms on the dark and glimmering plain of sleep, a face swells snarling before you. Your shield harm links limp, your spirit's broken. You welcome the cold blade when it comes. You awaken from the dream of death to death itself. Okay, let me just double check this. Harp, 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 harp. Yeah. just to be sure. Ow. Just to be sure we're happy with this angle, if this is the angle we're going to commit to. Dandelions growing up here, that's funny. Alright, alright, alright. Get back here, you skinny fucker. Yeah, here to the end point. Yeah, this is good. So do this angle, just like clunk right here, just a bit lower. And that should do for most of this. And then have like a construction project along here that'll lead to here. And then I'll do that at the same. And then I'll find the point. But the problem will be this is the angle, right? Which means this is the parallel. Which is like... not conducive at all to getting over there. But... this one might have to go more out. Alright, so there's more challenges ahead for sure. But basically just line these two walls at the same angle and then figure out the thoroughfare from there. So this is like basically wanting me to go right across like this. Like cutting off way more of the base. Or going out more. Going out more is probably the better solution than cutting off more land. And then from there, cutting out to here. And then the problem again will be like boom, boom, boom. Is that this is the angle. So the angle is going to have to go from there. Like fucking out to sea. If I want to do it that way. Following the natural ridge lines. Or I just do them like so, whatever it is. And then I can do like a 2-pointer or something. Alright, this is for tomorrow. But I know what to think about. I know like the general area, but I like that I still have some natural resources out here. These like outer elements don't need to be like just completely flat both ways. And then essentially, once I open this up to whatever like the sea guard wall will be, this will open up. It'll be another internal rectangle here-ish. And the two boats will go in. Chests. Chests like along here. Wish I had one of the green screen ones right now. I could actually like raise across. And then chests across the main point here. And then stairs up the middle between the two boat docks or whatever, between the two sets of chests. And then on the second floor will be the workstations on either side, I suppose. And then the stairs continue to ascend to a third level with whatever things will be at the third level, I'm not sure. Along the staircase will be armor sets. And cool shit like that. And then up there on the third floor will be like a throne room, etc. And then above that will be a tower into the sky. I'm getting a sense of this. It's going to be like at least a week. How much stone do I have on me? 41. So this area's got a... this area's got to go. Call me Jason Mallister, because this is going to be called Seaguard. Or call me Eris Oakhart, because I'll call the base Oakhart. There's a lot of different influences I want here. don't go too crazy with it. Just even the rest of the water's not there. Nice crannies and crevices for my dudes to get broken leg in. Got a little James Franco situation, the movie where he gets caught there and has to cut off his arm. Ooh, that was a scene. They did like a buzzsaw sound effect or something when he had to cut his leg off. Alright. Trees. I'm starting to feel a little sick. Playing this too much and talking too much today. Put the necktails in here. I don't feel like doing stuff for the rest of this day today, so I'll pick this up tomorrow with some daylight. And that is a wonderful... that is a wonderful session of Valheim for today. And here I go. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.